cards are dealt the other way now, and for the last time, no more shuffling.
All right, welcome back to yet another episode of Fantasy Fuel Shuffling the Deck. I am Tom Tuttle, and today we're going to be doing a random player from the Baltimore Ravens. Almost forgot who we were doing. The Baltimore Ravens. So we're going to the AFC North. We just finished with the NFC North, so that's what we're doing now. We're going through that, and let's see who that random player is going to be. All right, where it's going to be Lamar Jackson. Wow, it's a lot of young people on this team. Lamar Jackson is almost like the veteran because they just drafted a bunch of guys. So we'll see how it all shapes up. But let's look into what Lamar Jackson did on the field last year. And he had 1,201 yards passing the ball. It's 6 touchdowns. And then he ended up having, this is the big part of his fantasy game, is 695 yards rushing and 5 rushing touchdowns. That's the big part. Because if you look at from when he started, which was from week 11 on, he had 173.7 points. That's almost 25 points per game, which would figure out to be about 400 points in an entire season if you average it all out that way. Which, if he had 400 points in a regular season, that would put him very, very close to a QB1 status. He's still learning how to be a quarterback. He definitely doesn't have the best throwing ability yet. That's something he's got to learn. He's an excellent runner. There's no doubt about that. You can see he is dynamic when he runs. But how can he become a better passer and still keep up the dynamic ability to run the ball on the field like he does? It's amazing. But I feel like the answer there is, how can the Ravens improve on offense? And I think they've answered that in the draft just a few days ago. One, Marquise Brown, extremely fast wide receiver for them. Going to open a lot of things up for Lamar Jackson. And number 2, Miles Boykin, another really, really fast wide receiver that they just drafted, should open up a lot more things for Lamar Jackson. Justice Hill, the fastest running back in the draft. I mean, this is huge. I mean, I think they've come out and made a statement, the Ravens have. And I don't want to forget about Mark Ingram either. I mean, he's going to have a big role in this offense, and it's going to help out Lamar Jackson as well. So that's I'm not going to forget, just because I'm bringing up these rookies, about him. And let's not forget how fast Lamar Jackson is. He's really quick, too, for being a quarterback, and that's why he gets a lot of rushing yards and them 5 rushing touchdowns from last year as well. So this team is extremely focused on one thing going forward: speed. That is difficult to defend as a defense. It opens up a lot more possibilities for Jackson, and the receivers should hopefully get more open. Now, I don't want to get into this like, oh, he's got new receivers and he's going to be awesome now. Well, it's going to take some time. It's going to be a while for it all to take effect and for them all to click together. And I think if they can click together this year, Jackson has a very good possibility to have a huge year. This could be really big because remember, the numbers I gave you earlier, that was all in like half a year. So if he puts all this together, he can have not only just 400 points in the regular season, he could be 450 points. He's got to learn to pass the ball a little better, and these wide receivers are definitely going to help him out. having a speedy running back is not going to hurt at all. So I think they're headed in the right direction to get Lamar Jackson a little bit better of a year than he had last year. And that, quite frankly, that's going to be a big part of his fantasy outlook. Now, they needed to get speed. And here's the reason why. The last 5 seasons that they've had, they have ranked last in plays 25 yards or more. That is not good. So you need some more speed to get some of these guys bursting through these holes, bursting on the routes, getting the ball. Well, that's going to be a lot on Lamar Jackson too. He's got to get the ball to the receivers accurately. If that's not going to happen, it doesn't matter who you have out there catching the ball. But the speed is going to help. Another reason they need the speed, and we'll go right back to the same. The last 5 seasons, they ranked second to last for touchdowns over 25 yards or more, or for 25 yards or more. So this is a big reason why they went and got these speedy guys, and I think this is really going to help Lamar. Now, what do you value Lamar Jackson at? Well, an ADP is one way to value and to look at things, and right now, his average draft position is in the 11th round. I disagree with it because I normally don't go that high on a quarterback. Quarterbacks I do not draft until later on because I'm always going to be able to find a quarterback that can produce for me. And if I have to, I'll stream quarterbacks week to week. I don't have a problem with that. And if in the 11th round seems early to me because that's just what I do. I don't draft quarterbacks until later. But off the board, he's the 19th quarterback being taken off the board. So if you believe that he can be a quarterback 1, a QB1 this year, which the numbers say that he is darn close already. If he can, now this is the big part. He's got to stay healthy. The type of quarterback that he is makes it really, really difficult for him to stay on the field for an entire season. We've seen it multiple times for multiple scrambling quarterbacks. They all, sooner or later, get banged up, get hurt, something happens. So it's going to be really interesting to watch with Lamar Jackson. I am excited to see it. He's one of them players last year that I thought is going to be huge going into his career because he's got that ability, but he has to stay healthy. That's big. So going forward, I think that's where I'm going to leave it right now with Lamar Jackson. I like him. I'm not willing to take him as my number 1, but if I can get him, he's the 19th quarterback being taken off the board, yes, I will do that. I'll stash him away, and he can be my bye week fill. I don't care because he might go off. And if that happens, you got gold. So let's leave it right there. And remember, I want you guys to check out JJ's John Eddie Jr., the co-host of Fantasy Fuel. He's doing his IDP specialist episode, so go check that out. It's called Ride. It's really, really cool, and you need to watch it if you are, or listen to it if you are in an IDP league. Remember, if you're on YouTube, please subscribe. And, of course, if you're going to subscribe, you might as well click that notification bell as well. That helps you get all the new episodes coming out every time we do one. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please give us a rating. That really helps us out, get a little bit more noticed. We're on Podchaser. We're on Spotify, iHeartRadio. We are everywhere. Don't forget about Facebook. We are on Facebook, and we are on the Facebook page, Fantasy Football Stardom and Situm. That is a place you can go to get all of your needs for fantasy football. Don't forget about Pole Sports. That is really important going forward. You need to be one of the first to register on this. This will be a great app going forward. Remember, that name is Pole Sports. And, of course, you can find us at fantasyfuelpodcast.com. Don't forget about it, and remember to stay fueled up this fantasy season.